I certainly am excited for Crimson Desert, and so far a lot of the gameplay that they've shown off has been their boss battles. So in this video we're going to be taking a look at 5 of them, and I do love the variety of the bosses that have been shown so far, from, knights to mythical beasts to mechanical creations, so there's definitely a lot to look forward in Crimson Desert. And our first boss that we're taking a look at is Walter Lanford. Kind of a boring boss name, but definitely the coolest thing about Walter here is that he is using a gun or a hand cannon, and this definitely makes me think that there may be some firearms in the game, and if the enemies are going to be using them against us, maybe we can use firearms against our enemies. Just another addition or something to look at, but we know that enemies will be having firearms, and again there are siege cannons in the game as well. And when you're fighting this boss battle, it definitely seems like there's a lot of defending with your shield. You're using your shield to block bullets. So there's just a lot of cool mechanics being shown off in this boss battle, which is basically bringing a sword to a gunfight. And the next boss battle that we're looking at is Splithorn, which seems to be a good mix of melee combat and magic abilities. Definitely, a pretty standard, above average minion or lower tier boss that we're going to be fighting. And he's coming at you with his sword, and then he's sending, tornado spells, magic your way. So you're fighting with your sword, keeping your distance, a pretty traditional boss, but nonetheless looks very cool. And then we have Muskan, who is definitely a brawler with fire damage. You're keeping your distance, while he's doing his movesets, and you're trying not to lose as much health when he gets close to you. Nothing too special about this boss besides the fact that he does appear to have a little bit of fire damage, and that it's taking place in a different environment compared to some of the other bosses that we've seen. So Muskan is simply just another boss we'll verse in Crimson Desert. The next boss we're going to be looking at is my personal favorite of the bunch, and that is Kearush the Slayer. He's certainly a cool creature to be fighting in a castle, and we don't know what type of creature he is, but he definitely has a lot of Hulk smash moves, or has a lot of gorilla ape-like attacks. So definitely a pretty cool, boss creature to be fighting. And I think one of the coolest things in this boss battle is that our main character Cliff hops on his back and rides him for a bit to, get some attacks in, or you can even use that to evade attacks. So again, there's just a lot of cool mechanics being shown off with each one of these boss battles that we're seeing, and just seeing how the variety of combat from our enemies is also going to affect how we're going to be playing the game. And then for our fifth and final boss, there is Golden Star. And this is truly a boss battle with a very cool setup, as a mechanical dragon basically gets loose and we're the ones to take care of it. And this is definitely showing us, the large scale combat in the game. We're fighting a giant mechanical dragon, and we're using EMPs to disable him for a bit, so that way we can, deal some damage to the dragon, because there's not much you can do when he's perched up high or flying around. It is, like I said, a bigger boss battle, and then eventually we end up riding our own dragon, so there's lots of variety in this boss battle alone, but definitely one of the coolest as you're fighting just a golden mechanical dragon. Crimson Desert looks absolutely awesome, sign me up. So with that, those are 5 different bosses we've seen so far in Crimson Desert. If you want to know more about the game and follow along as it comes out, subscribe if you'd like, and until next video, goodbye.